Welcome! This video can help you fill out your application form for your permanent resident card. If you are filling out your form using a computer, type your information into the white spaces. A check mark will appear in the boxes as you click on them. When you're finished, print the form and sign it. It is best to fill out the form this way as it is easier to read. If you are filling out your form on paper, print your answers neatly using a blue or a black pen. Mark each box with a check mark or an X. Follow along with the video as you complete the form, pressing pause and play as you complete each question. Let's get started. Check one box for your preferred official language, English or French. Enter the date you became a permanent resident of Canada. Check the box that best describes why you are applying for a PR card. In Section A, you will provide your family name and all of your given names as they appear on your record of landing or confirmation of permanent residence. The name you use currently, if it is different from question 4. Sex, date of birth, country of birth, country of citizenship. If you hold citizenship in more than one country, list all that apply. Eye color, height, current address in Canada, mailing address in Canada if it is different from question 12. Telephone number at home and an alternate number. Marital status. Now we'll move on to Section B. Enter the city and province where you became a permanent resident of Canada. Have you ever been issued a removal order to leave Canada? Check yes or no. Have you ever been issued a document stating that you are inadmissible as a permanent resident of Canada? If this applies to you, you would have received a report under subsection 44(1). Check yes or no. In Section C, provide information about where you have lived, worked, and studied over the last 5 years. If you have been a permanent resident for less than 5 years, enter only your information since becoming a permanent resident. For each question, make sure you account for every single month within the time period to avoid a delay with your application. If you need more space, use a separate sheet of paper. For question 19, list all the places where you have lived over the last 5 years. Start with your current address and work backward. Write each address on a separate line. Enter the month and year that you have lived at each address and the month and year that you left. For question 20, list the places where you have worked or studied in Canada over the last 5 years. If you have not worked or studied in Canada in the last 5 years, write NA for not applicable. Account for each month and year of your work or study history in the box provided. Enter start and finish dates, full name of your employer or educational institution, city or town, country, and province. For question 21, indicate if you have traveled or lived outside of Canada in the last 5 years. This includes all travel, even short trips. If you checked yes, list each absence in the box provided, including dates, locations, and reasons for your absence. Finally, add up the number of days for each line and enter the total number in the box. Section D only applies to people who have been absent from Canada for more than 1,095 days. If this does not apply to you, skip this section and go to question 23. Question 22 offers 3 options to describe your absences from Canada. You may need to provide information for more than one option. If more space is needed, use a separate sheet of paper. Option 1 applies to you if you traveled with a Canadian citizen who is your spouse, common law partner, or, if you are under the age of 22, your parent. Enter the family member's name and provide proof of his or her Canadian citizenship and of your relationship. List each absence in the box provided, including dates, addresses, and number of days for each absence. Add up the number of days and enter the total. Option 2 applies to you if you were working for a Canadian company or for the federal government or your provincial government outside of Canada. Enter your information, add up the number of days, and enter the total. Option 3 applies to you if you traveled with a permanent resident of Canada who is your spouse, common law partner, or, if you are under the age of 22, your parent. During the absence from Canada, the family member must have been employed by a Canadian company or by the federal or provincial government. Enter the family member's name and provide proof of his or her permanent resident status in Canada and of your relationship. Enter your information, add up the number of days, and enter the total. If none of these options apply to you, write a letter to describe your absences and include it with your application. In question 23, you must sign in the signature of declarant space. Enter the date, city, and province where you signed. If you are less than 14 years old, your parent or legal guardian must sign the form. You do not need to sign. If you are between the ages of 14 and 18, both you and your parent or legal guardian must sign the form. Enter the date and check one box to describe your relationship. If you are using a computer, you need to complete the form and print it before you can sign here. You should only fill out section F if your PR card was lost, stolen, destroyed, or never received. For question 24, enter your PR card number, the date of issue, and check the box that describes why you need to replace your card. Enter the date and time your card was lost, stolen, destroyed, or not received. In the next box, describe what happened to your PR card in detail. Then below, describe in detail what you have done to locate your PR card. Include police or incident report numbers if applicable. Lastly, sign and date this section. If you are less than 14 years old, your parent or legal guardian must sign the form. You do not need to sign. If you are between the ages of 14 and 18, both you and your parent or legal guardian must sign the form. Sign and date this section. You have now completed the application form. If you used a computer, you are ready to print. Be sure to sign and date section E and section F. Your application cannot be processed without your signature. Remember, this form is only one step of your application. You still need to complete and sign the supplementary identification form, provide your photographs. These are different from passport photos. Include your expired or damaged PR card with your application. If your card is still valid, keep it until further instructed. Include copy 2 of your fee receipt. Refer to the document checklist for all other mandatory documents. The best way to make sure you have completed all the steps is to read the guide, which is available at www.cic.gc.ca/PR Card Guide.